a garden blessing ceremony with all important beings of nature, ancestors, gods, uh, representatives of humanity. That's me for now. And let's see, God, ancestors, teachers. I have my teachers' photos here. Uh, humanity and nature. So we've got flowers with us, we've got gods with us, we've got ancestors with us, and we are in really great, protected, wonderful hands this way. And I first want to begin by wishing you all a very, very happy and very blessed spring Navratri. Navratri is the 9-night goddess celebration of ancient India. And it's the time when we really connect with the Shakti, or the divine feminine spiritual power of the warrior goddess Durga, who is going to be our guide through this journey of the spiritual warrior program. It's hard to believe that it's here. I have spent the past couple of years really just working on writing this book, and really the writing was my devotion and my dedication to goddess Durga. And it's so surreal to feel that I'm actually now inviting you all into this experience of exactly how I've been able to write this book and to really digest my own life's experiences and to honor the best of what I've been given while changing certain karmic scripts for the future. And that's the power that we have when we have this special knowledge of who we really are, which is what the goddess tradition is reminding us of. These 9 nights and 9 days of the Navratri celebration, which is traditionally uh, ceremony of transition from one season to another in the Ayurveda tradition. And a lot of people don't know that it's linked to Ayurveda that way, but it is. And it's ceremoniously helping us to transition from the needs of one season to another season through our foods, through our lifestyle practices, through maybe some herbs that we might take. So in the spring Navratri, we actually really celebrate the neem tree as being an incredible source of purification for us on the journey. So in parts of India today, they must be really evoking neem as Devi, or neem, the plant, as an embodiment of the goddess and the goddess Durga. And in the fall season, we really have the big festival that probably a lot of people know Navratri as, but then it's also there in the spring, it's there in the winter. So it's there for us, and it's there for the purpose of giving us a spiritual anchoring and a spiritual grounding to be able to make transitions, right? Because transitions always make us humans feel very vulnerable. The times of birth, of death, of change, of loss, of new beginnings are also very vulnerable times when we feel uncertain, we feel shaky, we don't feel like we still have the earth beneath us to walk upon. And that's especially when we need to really surrender ourselves to a higher power and to the helping hand, which is that divine hand that is ultimately orchestrating everything in our lives for our own unfolding. And this journey of the Navratri practice, or the Navratri, experience, if we will, is actually representative each day of the 9 steps of the spiritual journey to our true self, to moksha, to liberation and spiritual enlightenment. And that's really the meaning of Navratri. A lot of times we know it by outer celebrations, dancing, music, singing, and all of that. And it's really fun to do that and to celebrate that divine feminine power that allows us to recreate ourselves and to create new life and new beginnings and new possibilities. But when we really understand the inner significance of what we're doing and why we're doing it, then it even takes on a whole new meaning unto itself. So that is really the quest that we are on here together, is to really embody this warrior goddess power within us, whether we're in a male identifying body or a female identifying body or another identification. It doesn't matter, because this transformative power is available to each and every one of us. We simply have to trust in it. We have to give ourselves to it, and we have to really say namaste, and I bow to you, and I don't know everything, but you know, and therefore please guide me to be able to walk on this path, to realize you living within my own heart. And this journey of the Spiritual Warrior Program will really inspire us and support us to develop 3 triple Ds, which are amazing. We have triple Ds that are not so amazing, and I used to call it that, like darkness, depression, and denial. And those are like the darkness, right? Like the tamasic or the inertia quality of Ayurveda psychology and yoga psychology, where we're kind of not moving, we're stuck, we're kind of in a zone of fear and anxiety, and not anxiety, it's not even anxiety, it's just stuck and kind of feeling heavy. And then what we have here are the triple Ds that are going to dispel that darkness and bring us sattva, which is the light, and the light that connects us with our true self. So these triple Ds are the triple Ds of devotion, discernment, and detachment. And these are our superpowers. These are our spiritual armor that we are going to go forward on this journey with. We are going to, first and foremost, really start with devotion, start with a feeling of real radical trust in that which we may not yet even know, but we really are trusting in that until we know it. And that's really the meaning of faith. And in that process, what we cultivate, especially on this first day and the first step of Navratri, which we'll go into a lot more detail about tomorrow, is Shraddha. Shraddha is the consistency of purpose to be able to go step by step on the path until we become one with the aim with which we're seeking, which is that spiritual liberation or moksha. So this path really is one of devotion. It's one that we come to with faith and trust, and also Shraddha, that dedication to a consistency of purpose until we reach the objective which we are seeking. Then we have discernment. Discernment in life is very, very important. It is a function that our higher mind or our intellect allows us to be able to do. We have to constantly make decisions in our everyday lives. And this is how we face the battles of our lives as spiritual warriors. We practice our discernment. We actually activate this higher mind within us called the buddhi, which allows us to look at every decision that we make, from the words that we speak to the thoughts that we think to the actions that we take, and how do I bring the divine into my speech? How do I bring the divine into my actions? How do I connect with the divine, even in someone who's challenging me, to be able to connect with the divinity within me and within that person? Because all of us have that divinity within us. It is the unifying principle of this whole universe. And it's that which, on a spiritual path, we're really trying to connect with. We have 2 types of discernment that we do on this path and on this journey. One is at the gross level, and that's a matter of deciding, is this food going to be better for me, or is that food going to be better for me? Is this outing or this restaurant I'm planning to go to going to be better for me, or is this one going to be better? Will it be better to go for lunch? Will it be better to go for dinner? Is it better to travel to Hawaii right now, or is it better to stay home? These are all kind of gross level, physical world related decisions and questions we may ask ourselves. Then, when we're on a spiritual path, such as what we're embarking upon together, we are exercising the subtle intellect, which is that part of our buddhi or our higher mind that allows us to be able to discern what is actually called nitya, what is eternal, what is unchanging, what is ever full, purnam, and what is merely coming and going, what's passing, what's anitya, what is just transient and worldly and taking us off of our spiritual path. We have to constantly do this level of discernment also. And when we do this kind of discernment, what it often leads to is the ancient way, the ancient spiritual texts, the ancient teachings of the ancient seers who revealed to us from the depths of their meditations the one truth with a capital T that is the same, that is recognized in all of the world's religions and spiritual paths. And that is what brings us closer ultimately to the self with a capital S. And that is the quest, and that is the purpose of the Goddess Festival and of this journey and of this whole experience of becoming a spiritual warrior. Then, when we have that devotion in our heart and we're exercising that intellect that allows us to make good decisions that are going to support us on the spiritual path, we then automatically, if we've done the right discernment, we will automatically practice detachment, which is the third of these spiritual superpowers or spiritual arsenals, I guess you could say, however you want to look at it. It's up to you. The goddess, has weapons, but she also has flowers. So there's a soft part of this path, and then there's a really tough part of the path. And she's bringing both together fluidly and in an integrated way. So you can kind of look at these as spiritual flowers blossoming within you. That's all here. Or you could say, these are my arsenals, these are my weapons to work through my, patterns that I'm tired of holding on to that are holding me back, right? And sometimes we need weapons. Sometimes we actually need Durga's sword to cut through the illusions of our own ignorance and to be able to separate then from all that is not pure, all that is not bringing us closer to our own true self. We actually have to, let go of it. We have to detach from it. We have to cut it. So that's why some of the goddesses are really fierce and they're holding on to a lot of things because it's all symbolic of the inner journey that we are taking to really cut away and destroy all that is not us. And when we do that, all we are left with is the love that is our true nature. And all we are left with is that divine essence of spirituality, which is the substratum of this entire universe. And in the Navratri celebration, just as we have so many different celebrations of so many different aspects of divinity in the Vedic spiritual tradition, we are really connecting with that one supreme consciousness, which is known as Brahman, in the personal form of a mother and a mother goddess. And this is such a instinctive connection because no matter what kind of relationship we may have with our biological mother, or maybe some of us don't even know our biological mother, we all have had one. There has been a human being who has gone through the pain and the labor of giving birth to us. And no matter what our relationship with our mother, we are indebted in deep gratitude for that. And it's so natural to cry for our mother in times of stress. And therefore, the sages have given us this beautiful mother goddess that the biological mother may have issues, right? May have impairments, may have mental afflictions that prevent her from being able to take care of all the needs that we have as children. But what we have in Goddess Durga is a divine mother and a way to approach divinity as our own mother, who we can ask for help and we can ask for guidance and we can start to recognize actually lives within us, within our own heart, because we have everything we need to heal ourselves. It's simply a matter of recognizing that and then going inside to connect with that and then to allow that beautiful seed of faith and of devotion and shraddha to really blossom in our hearts. And as that happens, then we'll naturally be able to extend our hearts and our hands and our heads to be able to support struggling humanity as ambassadors of Durga's divine Shakti. And that is really the path of Navratri. Each of the 9 steps of the spiritual warrior program journey and the Navratri spiritual journey that has been here since time immemorial, really, is basically leading us to prepare for a life of service and giving back and offering whatever gifts we have been given by the divine back to the divine. In the Vedic spiritual tradition, we have a concept, a beautiful, beautiful concept of Pancha Mahayajnas. Pancha means 5. You'll hear this word a lot in whatever I'm teaching or sharing. And Maha means great, and Yajna means literally sacrifice or offering to the fire. So when we are talking about a path of service, or when we're talking about giving back, we are guided by the Vedic spiritual tradition to give back to 5 great entities of this earth with which we are having a relationship, and because of which we are actually here and able to do so many things. One is first and foremost divinity and God. And every time even we remember God, it's a way of doing a yajna or doing an offering to that divine. And what we're offering is our own ego, right? They say that if the only prayer you ever say in your life is thank you, that will be enough. And so even just thanking that divine essence in our hearts is a form of deva yajna, or saying thank you to God, or making a sacrifice or an offering from the heart to that divinity. And today that's what we're doing. Actually, we're doing a Devi. Devi is goddess, Devi Yajna. So we're making an offering to the goddess. And then we have what is known as Brahma Yajna, and Brahma Yajna is a offering that we make to the teachings themselves and to the great teachers who have passed down this wisdom for us to be able to benefit from it. And as many of you know, India has a long history of lots of colonization by different kinds of foreign rulers. And somehow there have still been these incredible, brave, courageous, spiritual warrior souls who have preserved the ancient traditions and knowledge and held on to that faith to still practice it no matter what was happening outside. And it's because of these lineage leaders that we have this opportunity to even benefit from that wisdom today when we're so in need of all of this knowledge. So I have here a photograph of my educational ancestors, Baba Ayodhyanath Sinha ji and his father, Bade Baba Shanti Prakash ji. And it's because of them and their whole parampara or tradition that I'm able to offer you these teachings today. And this whole inward celebration of Navratri, where it's not just 9 days out of the year, but it can actually be every day, is something that was passed on in this lineage. And Baba especially was a really great devotee of goddess Durga. And Baba has gone to the Himalayas to be able to learn directly from nature, to be able to experience the true teachings of God and the connectedness with the universe. And he traveled from one sadhu sage teacher to another, and he met lions, tigers, and bears, and somehow has lived to pass on the lineage to allow me to be able to share with you as an ambassador of this sacred lineage. And so my teaching, my writing, my sharing on any kind of platform, and especially in this one with you, my students, is all thanks to Baba Ayodhyanath, Bade Baba, and all of the great teachers and sages who have taught them, all the way back to Rishi or sage Vashishta. So this is the educational lineage, which I am so blessed to be a part of. And then I have my biological lineage of ancestors who were incredible healers. And this is a photograph of my personal grandfather, Amarchand Kokani. And Amarchand means the eternal moon. So he is holding the lineage of the moon. And it's interesting because Prakash means light, which is, of course, of the sun. So sun and moon, educational ancestors, biological ancestors are covering sun and moon. And all of the ancestors from Amar Chand Dada, as we say, Dadaji, respected grandfather, to his father, Hakim Chand Ji, to Sur Chand Ji, they're all having that Chand surname, which literally means moon. And moon is mother. And this is my maternal ancestor lineage. And I'll share with you actually a beautiful blessing from my mother, which I asked her to record for us today, which she did from her mother, who was apparently a great devotee of Goddess Durga. And I'm only recently finding out about this, but it makes sense. Ayurveda, my grandfather was practicing Ayurveda. He was a very renowned Ayurveda Vaidya or doctor in Ahmedabad, India, in the state of Gujarat. And I only found that out only after coming to Ayurveda myself. So I just feel that my ancestors truly are with me and always guiding me, and they're going to be with us through this journey. And I have also my aunt, my Masi, as we call her, which is mother's sister, mother's elder sister, and she is, or any sister, I think, and she is Tarumasi, which means tree. So tree, Masi, tree aunt, and she is like the family tree. She passed away many years ago, and so did her son, my cousin Apurva, who unfortunately passed away of brain tumor. But I really feel it was just that he was such a pure soul who was, until his last days, dedicated to service to those who were suffering. He felt even more than him, and he passed away in his teenage years, and that left a big impression upon me. Was the first experience of death and loss, and they both, mother and son, passed away within exactly 1 month of each other. But I always call upon them for my path of service and for my ability to carry on basically the family tree. And I really invite you to be a part of this beautiful family tree in connecting with these ancient teachings and traditions that have been passed down in my biological ancestor, and that's Bhuta Yajna. So when we say thank you to our ancestors, or sorry, that's not Bhuta Yajna, that's Pitra Yajna. Pitra means ancestors. So this is, these are my ancestors, and I say thank you to them. And then we have Bhuta Yajna, which is the debt of gratitude we have towards nature. So plants and animals are constantly giving to us. This earth is Mother Nature, and she is a mother, she is a goddess. And we say thank you to nature through connecting with the 5 elements of nature, which we'll do in our celebration here today. And then we have Manushya Yajna, which is humanity. So humanity has made many sacrifices to allow us to be able to be here, from even the invention of the internet to the invention of Zoom. To be able to do a virtual celebration with you is thanks to the sacrifices of humanity. And may we all, teacher and students, really in our hearts welcome that intention to give back whatever benefits, whatever blessings we receive from this path, to be spiritual warriors who can really be strong and guide others from darkness to light, from the power of our own personal experience. So these are the yajnas. These are all the main characters, if you will. And this is the path. With devotion, we develop our discernment and exercise detachment to be able to really say yes to the light and to the power of our own true self.